But I want to do one more video today. And this one's called Firestrike Insanity! Okay, and today we're going to show you Nerf Firestrike stock, which isn't a bad gun, but man, you pull back that plunger, it is like shaking the hands of a real pathetic meanie guy. Okay? Because this gun is capable of doing so much more. My holster rig, all this. This gun is known as a Super Firestrike. It has a Bariska multi-reticle optional intensity sight. It has 6.5K of spring force, and it is capable of doing ranges as far as in excess of 130 feet. It can shoot, I say 85 flat. Some people say it's like 100 flat, but I'm not sure about that. A lot of people's flat ranges ideas are really off. Very powerful gun. Very powerful gun. It has quickly become the fear of people. I mean, I was shooting at people like the last match, and I was like aiming at people, and people like moving out of the way everywhere I aimed. It was pretty freaking rad. So this is with a 6.5K setup. It's got a 4K orange mildwork spring and a 2.5K reflex spring. But I did order a 6 kilogram Stampede spring, and I did order also this motherfucker, an 8K Swarm Fire spring, and I am wondering, will this fit in here? So let's compress this down without losing it. Yeah, it's just under an inch. And so we got this. So the thing is, here's the packaging of the Firestrike, right here. It comes with this, you know, this sort of twine mesh deal that you have to cut with scissors. So allow me. Okay, one on the hook here, and one on the grip. So to liberate this, you have to grab that. There you are. Okay. Yeah, I bought 2 of them. Actually, I bought 3. I went to a bar and was talking to this guy, and he's, you know, never shot a gun in his life, never shot a gun in his life, and I said, "You gotta exercise your rights, pal." And so he gave me one of my drinks for free, and I was like, "Okay, that's it. I'm gonna go give him my 3rd Firestrike. That's it." I go in my car, go in the parking structure, and boom, handed my Firestrike. Why? Because the guy's a pro. Gave him my phone number, showed him this blog, all that stuff. I hope he's reading this. I hope he's exercising his rights. First thing you'll notice about the Firestrikes is that they're smaller. They're not quite a normal EX3. They're just, the body's different. This is in 2 different pieces. This is gray plastic, that's blue plastic. But something that the AA brothers, that's Andrew and Anthony Vitug, showed me, is specifically Anthony. Watch this. These hooks on the bottom are meant so that you can draw them back when you're firing. The strong arm has a similar setup, but what I found is that the strong arm claws are not compatible with the Firestrike, but the Firestrike claws on the bottom of the grips are compatible with the strong arm. I think that blows, but you know, what can I say? Alright, so we're going to take one of these apart, and we're going to attempt a mod that may or may not work. When I modded this originally, I gave myself a 60% chance, because when I saw the plunger head, I realized, ooh, that's going to be a bitch, okay? So we're going to take apart all the darts. I'm going to take this gun. I just took this out of the box, okay? Right out of the box. Now, normally I tape up the holes on this one. On this one, I may actually be drilling another hole just to make it equal. I'm not quite sure yet, because this is going to be a very high velocity gun. This gun may have super Veloce type velocity, or the spring might not fit. In that case, we're going to be breaking out the 6K orange Modwork Stampede spring. But do remember, you have to take the plunger off, and then you have to glue it back in place, not just snap it back in place. This means if you put a spring in there that doesn't fit, you're stuck, and you got to throw the whole thing out. Another reason I bought 3, but I'm down to 2, and the reason is because of what a nice guy I am. So the reason I finished last a lot in life is what a nice guy I am. Lower spring screws seem to be bigger heads. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just not getting. I'm just not getting a grip on that one. I'll have to get a bigger screwdriver for that. But it's just a very simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws. Hold down the chassis of the gun. Very simple. Okay. So let's work down here. So I'm unscrewing it. Okay, so open this up. Open it up. Take this out over here, make sure they're all loose. There's our piston block right there. As you can see, there's quite a bit of air diameter, unlike, let's say, one of these. One of the reasons this is faster is because it can move more air. So given that this has a 6K, if this one has a 6K, it's going to go farther than this one. By simple merits that it goes faster. Also, the front end has less air area. This thing has got this big distribution block back here, so that's a lot more dead space. You may notice the spring for the trigger catch is also the spring for the trigger. Here's your switch right here for this. Is a double trigger, like they're doing on a lot of your rev-up guns, and there's your light assembly unit right there. Okay. First thing we got to do is we got to get this apart right here. Okay. Get this apart right here. You got to take the piston and the light rig out, but you have to leave the light there because it's wire. Okay. So now what we got to do is we got to figure out how much dead distance do we have. Okay. So if we go down here, there's how much dead distance we have to the latch, to the trigger catch, to there. Now, of course, I didn't really have to do that. I only had to go from there to there. Now, real simple. How do you figure this out? Okay. Take your spring and compress it. Is it better more than that? Okay. It's really hard to do because this takes and you got 8K springs. You can measure this with a ruler, that will also work. But for time purposes, close, ain't it? Close, very close. I think it will work, so I'm willing to give it a shot. Okay, take your rubber seating out. Okay, put that in a safe place. Next thing you're gonna do, it's a good thing I got the regular screwdriver. You gotta pry this out. You gotta pry all three of these little prongs on this piston end. You gotta pry it out. So I did a similar mod with that's posted on my blog at chriscartaya.blogspot.com. Okay, you gotta pry it out. You gotta push on it at the same time. This is a very tedious task. It is not easy to modify Firestrike. This is the biggest reason right here, is that this plunger head is a pain in the ass. So before you tell everybody you have a modded Firestrike, make sure you got one built. Okay? So, remember I was telling you guys that it's very hard to mod one of these? Well, yep, sure is. The other thing you gotta do is when you take this out, you have to run it with some soap and water, get rid of all the lubrication on there. Or your bonding agent. Today we're gonna try super glue. Or your bonding agent, such as epoxy, super glue, or whatever glue you use, is not gonna adhere or bond to it, and will eventually knock out, and when you got a modded gun, you don't want that. So, you get to a point, you pull it off. Okay, so let's get this up. Pull it off. And you just gotta keep prying it without damaging the piston, without damaging the shaft. This is a very difficult job. Okay, it's very tedious, it's very hard, it does take a certain touch, a knack, okay? But in reality, it's just riveted by 3 little taps. Okay? But what fuels us? It is the possibility of, it comes off, it's going to come off like that. Okay? It is the possibility of super Veloce type speeds. As you can see, the spring diameters of these, this one part is slightly bigger, but if you look at the catch down here, okay, look at the catch, it'll fit just fine. It'll fit just fine. That trick is bonding this to the point that it will fit on here and it won't pop off. Okay, that's the trick. That is the real key. It looks like it's going to be a lot easier than an Orange ModWorks Stampede spring to do. But I do notice something. Out of the factory, my shaft is bent. Is it going to affect us? Is it not going to affect us? I don't know. Then you have to take the O-ring off. Okay, you take it off. See, I have it. Well, okay, you can't see, but I put it on top of the computer here, and then you have to take the trigger catch and take that off. You've got to take this part and this part and wash them off and soak it. Okay, so now I got these cleaned. I just use your normal dish soap, maybe like Dawn or Joy or Ajax, just your normal in-sink dish soap. And you got to clear off every little bit of water off of this too, because you don't want it to, you know, get messed up or anything. Okay. I also got some silicone grease, Orange Modworks silicone grease, to help us out. So this gun's not going to be unlubed. And I would highly recommend lubing this part too, on lubing the trigger catch, because it's going to be pretty crazy. As you can see, this gets a little mauled, and if you try to put the piston back on in this condition, it's going to fall apart, and that's not going to be cool, and we don't want that. So, so here we are. Let's begin. So there's your standard spring that comes with it. Here's the spring that comes from Orange Modworks. This is a Swarmfire spring, also on clearance, just like the Vulcan spring. Okay, you're going to want to put the spring catch back here. It's got a pretty positive spring catch here. I think this thing could do 10K, but I'm probably never going to find out. There's certain chances you don't want to take. Okay, and put in mind, once this plunger's on here, it's set. You cannot mess with it. You cannot fix it. You cannot anything. Okay. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this trigger catch spring right here, and I'm going to change it out for an Orange Modworks trigger catch spring. Does it help? Does it help with a better trigger catch spring? Yes, because the more powerful your springs are, the more powerful you need force to hold it in. It's the truth. Make sure this is heading the right direction, because you cannot twist this around once it's there. Make sure it's up is where the spring is. Okay, make sure. Okay? And without further ado or delay, or maybe further ado or delay, where the hell did my piston go? Here we are. Like I said, I'm one of those people who misplaces things a lot. We're going to throw the piston head on there. And we're going to use crazy glue this time. I really want to I need a prototype to try this. See if it holds up. See if it doesn't. Okay? This is going to have a lot of hold time, so I'm going to stop this as part 1. Okay? Don't you go changing. Look for part 2.